Okay, so we have our section cut mostly, right? There's a little bit that we're missing here, but for the most part, we've got it. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of detail in. This will be just a maybe a 10-minute little detail add exercise. So first, there's some lines I know, right? Like I know this line's going to come back to this vanishing point over here. I don't totally yet know where that's going to come down, but I do, actually I do, don't I? This line right here. Boom, boom. I knew I put all those blue lines all over the place for a reason. So I'm starting to draw the outside of that. I know I've got the inside of this opening. This is the part of the 2-point perspective that starts to go a little faster, and it comes together pretty quickly if we've done all of that setup carefully. So I think I actually see a little bit of this up here, don't I? Yeah, just a little bit. It's just a virtue of how we cut the section. And again, that's going to come right straight up because we're a perfect square. And then I want to draw this little bit in, right? So I've got to construct the bench on this side still. I know that this is going to be the height of it. It's going to be the same on the other side. I'm just going to do this little line too, just since I'm over here. It's going to come up off of the plan here. I'm going to blue line all of this because this is not being cut through. All I want to do is make sure I get that angle. I know this comes down to 7, it comes up to 8, which I've already got set up right there. I just need to figure out this little angle to know how far this line comes across. That line right there, right? Because this needs to come in a little. And then that light cove actually is stepped in. So I'll draw that in just a minute. But that gives us those 2 points, right? So now I can determine that angle. I'm going to do this in graphite now since I've got this all set up. It's that right there. This is right here. And then I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of guesswork on that light cove. Such a small dimension that I'm not sure I really need to measure that out. There's that section. So if I want to add a little more detail in, so I'm going to just do, I'm going to draw in the rest of this tunnel. The tunnel is 6 feet wide, so that comes over 3 feet on each side of that center line, right? So I'm going to determine that by going over here, go to 11 feet, 12, 13, 14 feet, right there. Then I got to pull this line back. I'm going to need to use both. It's right there in plan, right? And then the other side of that opening is 1, 2, 3. I'm just doing this just for the sake of having it. 6 feet over. Right there. And these I can project up. And then from this point, I need to go back Which is the outside wall line, right? So it's that line. And then from this point, I'm going to do this in blue. I come back to the other wall line right there. I'm going to graphite it in. It's really confusing otherwise. That line isn't really there. It's really here, right? So where that comes down to is going to be something I have to figure out, right? That's going to come in that 3 feet up. It's going to come down right to that point. Right? Because this is that line. This projects up, and there we are. Do both of these again. That's the rest of that tunnel. So I'm going to draw on the bench, and then I'm going to call this done. So the bench here, I need to be able to draw. That comes out. I'm going to make things easy on myself. I'm going to draw this line down here. So see, if I do that, then I can project all these lines up. So I know that the front of the bench is right there. The base of it is right there. So then I know this line comes to there. It comes up some height that I don't quite know yet. I know this comes to here, right? But then I'm gonna have to project it back to the plane where it's actually at, which is the other side of that opening. So I'm starting to draw things in space now, not the cut line. Like that. And then we already have that point right there, right? That's the top of that point. I could also, take that 8-foot mark, come back to the wall line right there, bring the light cove line up from this point. Things get real confusing once you get really close to the horizon line. So darken it down to 8 feet. Front of it. Just like that. I'm going to pause right there, and you can keep going on if you want to keep drawing some of these lines in. From here on out, you should be able to do that fairly easily. You can start to project these lines across. and begin to make the rest of the bench. One thing you're going to know is that this corner of the bench is going to be a straight line. So you will be able to, again, that's just by virtue of us cutting this thing and drawing it and setting it up as a perfect cube or a perfect square as a floor plan, and that square is right on that center line. So you can start to project the benches around and draw those in as you want. This again is starting to get into the next. If you can't get to this today, don't worry. This is not required today. We're getting into the next assignment on this. Because with the next assignment, we're going to draw a lot of detail in here. And we're going to start to draw the plan in section or in perspective and finish it out. So I'm going to pause this and upload. And that's it for today.